thinking is hard. So just do what the government says. That Kate Daly Show starts now.
My name is Kent Singleton. I own some property in Morgan County. It's blatantly evident from the signs posted in my driveway and in various locations upstream and prominently attached to the Croydon Railroad trestle, the same sign that indicates an overreach of use of my property. They are threatening to take my property through a condemnation process called eminent domain. That's clearly in violation of state law. If they succeed in taking my property, no one's land will be safe from government seizure. It's time for people to wake up and protect their property rights before it's too late.
Hi there. Welcome. Kate Daly Show. And of course, talking about an eminent domain case in this hour. And, you know, we've talked about land grabs. And it was crazy to me how many people on the ground in Hurricane or Helene, whatever, hurricane, monsoon, storm, I don't even know what it was. How many people were immediately pointing to land grab, pointing to this was a land grab. This was something that they're after our land, they're after us, and it was amazing to me how that was the very first thing. And I have Randy Parker on, who's the former board of USDA under Trump. And I also have Kent Singleton on, and they're joining me to talk about a land grab. And I want everyone to know about this because I know it's on our minds, number one. And I also know that we are in a situation where it's coming at us from different angles. And I want to cover this angle too, because this is scary, how far this has progressed. Welcome to the show, Randy Parker. How are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you for asking, and it's good to be on your program.
Excellent. Thank you. With the USDA, used to be with the USDA board under Trump, and then we've got Kent Singleton, whose property this is, and this happens to be in the state of Utah, but it's happening all over. And so don't think for a second this couldn't happen to you too, and this is why I'm doing the show. Kent Singleton, welcome.
Thank you very much, Kate. Thanks for having me on today.
You betcha. Tell us what happened.
I'm Kent Singleton, and I wanted to share a story that could happen to any landowner.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine for a moment that you buy a piece of property, leftovers of your ancestors' gas station, store, and a campground on a beautiful river, a place that should be yours to enjoy and protect.
Right.
But instead, from the day to day, you take ownership, it feels like everyone except you is in control.
Okay.
So within about 10 days of buying the property, the Morgan County Council holds a meeting on May the 21st, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? You're the only one not invited. In this session, they vote to make your property a recreation area, or commonly called their park, and install signs right on your driveway.
Wow.
Giving direction, and these signs giving direction to the state and local agencies and 10 plus commercial outfitters and thousands of people to use your property 24/7 without your permission, compensation, and you have all of the liabilities thereof.
How can they get away with having a meeting without you, discussing your property and declaring something on property that's owned?
It gets worse than that, because the government entities that were there at the meeting included the Division of Natural Resources, the Division of Wildlife, and the Walk-In Access Program, who are selling licenses and permits, making millions of dollars from the use of your land for year-round fishing, hunting, trapping, and floating the river as endorsed on the signage in your driveway.
Oh my gosh. So what were the first, so you got this property, it's on a river, and what were the first things you started noticing? Because usually you can kind of see the rumblings happen, if you will. So what happened? What did you start noticing?
When the law enforcement refused to issue trespass citations, when I tried, about the trespassing citations. So when I tried to fight back, they targeted my family. They even go so far as to issue a criminal trespass citation to my 76-year-old wife, seeking 6 months in jail time and $2,000 fine all while refusing evidence to provide the evidence, like the deputy's body cam and the dash cams, and using altered and re-altered photographs and fabricated evidence recorded in the court files while they were prosecuting my wife.
Wow. So they kept you busy with that and attacking your family while they were taking some of these steps to even go further?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And
so
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that it isn't just my story. That could be anyone's story if we allow this kind of overreach and corruption to go unchecked.
Yeah.
So I'm here today to expose what's been happening on my property and how it serves as a warning to all landowners who are not allowed internal affairs, public review boards, or any administrative processes whatsoever. So there's your tip.
Wow, you were denied all of that.
If they won't let you talk to the county or anybody outside of the county, there's your first tip.
Oh my gosh. And you have lots of people going into the place that you own on this river. You have almost like a public access. People are going.
Well, what it is, yes, exactly. Pre-COVID, it was that that there were 3,000 people a day. Well, during COVID, everything doubled. So there have been as many as 7,000 people recently on my property in a single day.
And they wouldn't do any trespassing. You're like, this is my property. They wouldn't do anything about it. You called them, they won't do a thing. Correct.
And instead, they retaliated and gave my wife the citation within half an hour of me asking them for a trespass citation against, which was actually a mass gathering of these people. You can imagine if you've got 1,000 people on your property at one time. Now, mind you, my property is only 6 acres big.
Okay. Wow. Whoa. Okay. So I'm getting that visual, and I can't even imagine having this happen to you. How long have you had the property?
2019.
Wow. I can't wrap my brain around it. Randy, let's get you in on this conversation. How are they getting away with this? What are they doing?
Well, what's so troubling to me is when I got involved in this trespass issue on privately owned stream beds, I was the CEO of the Utah Farm Bureau Federation, and we got involved because we are an organization that values private property rights. And one of the most important parts of your bundle of rights with private property is the right to exclude. And that's been stolen from Kent. The Utah Constitution, Article 1, Section 22, says property shall not be taken or damaged. Now that's unique for Utah. It says taken or damaged for public use without just compensation. I would argue that his property has both been taken and damaged. Yeah. And that therein lies the problem, is the lack of concern for this. In fact, there was a citation on the same river that Kent's talking about, the Weber River, for some people that were fishing on a private stream bed. And that case, that trespass citation went all the way to the Utah Supreme Court. And in 2008, the Utah Supreme Court made this notation: because the legislature has not acted on this issue, we make our own rule. And they granted the public access to the stream beds in the state of Utah, including privately owned stream beds that people had paid taxes on for over 100 years. Now, does that seem like that's a little bit of judicial overreach?
I would think.
Absolutely. And then in 2010, the legislature said, well, we've been invited to address this issue. And in the Public Waters Access Act, they provided a right to float because the water belongs to the public, but they protected private property. And that law has been in the courts for most of the last 15 years back and forth. and it's been a real roller coaster ride that we can talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
If you want to go there.
Are you seeing this all over? I'm sure you are, using this vehicle of the rivers, navigable rivers, waterways.
Oh, absolutely. There's an organization here in Utah called the Utah Stream Access Coalition. Short is USAC, and they have been taking individual property owners to court in order for them to charge that this is unconstitutional, or that these streams are under the navigable for tidal definition that the states received when they became a member of the United States. Navigable for tidal is a very strict standard that the state can claim stream beds based on some very strict Supreme Court decisions that have been made over the last 100 years. And what the U.S. Supreme Court did was explicitly define what the standards are for a state to claim navigability for tidal. As an example, in 1922, the U.S. Supreme Court in Oklahoma versus Texas said you have to disregard the temporary high water and consider conditions in the stream prevailing in the greater part of the year. In 1931, in the United States versus Utah, the U.S. Supreme Court said a stream must be useful or susceptible of use for trade and travel in its ordinary and natural condition. All right, and then the third one was the PPL Montana versus Montana case. That case in 2012, I was actually in the U.S. Supreme Court chambers because we had submitted a brief on it, and that case was unanimous that came down, and it said that this is well-settled law and is based on a segment-by-segment determination to establish navigable for tidal. So somebody can't just come in and say 50 miles of that river is navigable for tidal. It has to be looked at segment by segment. And we're not seeing that in Utah because we have this out of control recreation group, USAC, that is suing at every opportunity.
We're going to come right back. More with Randy Parker, former USDA board under Trump, and also Kent Singleton, his land under attack. Be right back on KateDalleyRadio.com. Upcoming is Chelsea Hope as well. Be right back.